Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and once again we're here with Dan Priest for our insurance talk on Bolivar Peninsula. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, David.
This is a weekly show that we do every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and we talk about coastal insurance. It could be boat insurance, home insurance, changes in policies, coverage, but it's insurance. So, Dan, you know, we're coming up to Christmas, and twice now in the last 6 years, I think, we've had freezes down here. One of them wasn't too bad, but one of them wiped out a whole lot of pipes down here in homes. In fact, enough that the water district or the water company had to shut the water off because the pipes broke and we were draining the water tanks. Let's talk about coverage for that, because I know before we've touched on it, and you may not have as much coverage as you think when a pipe breaks.
Right.
Because it could run, and a lot of our pipes, our homes aren't built for freezing weather. I mean, cold weather, but not hours and hours of freezing weather. And I was talking to a contractor when that happened, and he said, you know, David, it really doesn't cost that much more when you look at it to go in and have the pipes wrapped in your floor and your ceiling. And he said, you know, people ought to start looking at that because things are changing. But we still get some freezing weather down here. And what, 2 years ago we had the Snowmageddon, I think, and man, there was water running out everywhere. What covers that?
That is discharge of water. Okay, so when you say freeze, that is one way that can happen, and another way is just simply wear and tear. Or
you were talking about washers, you know, going out.
Yeah, one thing that happened to me one time at a residence, and was asleep and just had a great night's sleep, and woke up the next morning and put my feet on the floor into ankle deep water. And you know, I'm sure there's other people watching this that have had that happen to them. That is a quick way to wake up.
I can remember Brad in Winnie when Harvey, I think it was Harvey or someone came through, and he woke up and stepped out of bed into water. And that's when Winnie flooded so bad. And I remember him telling me the story about it and the thought that went through his head. And I can't mention probably what he said.
Probably not a good idea.
But anyway, what covers that?
That's discharge of water coverage. Okay. So, you know, getting back to that, we're talking about that could happen through flood, which is rising water, which is not covered in a homeowner's. It's a flood policy. What happened to me was the kitchen sink. Sometime during the night, one of the little conical washers that are in the lines that go to the faucet just gave out. It just faltered, and it began a leak all night long, and over 8 hours filled up the house to about the baseboard level and was going out into the garage and running down the street. So that can happen with our primary homes, which are whether they're the beach or inland. So discharge of water specifically covers that. So how that comes into play here at the beach and with insurance companies, because when that happens, if this is a second home, or if this is a vacation rental, which is sometimes unoccupied for a period of time, an insurance carrier recognizes that if that discharge of water happens, or if a pipe breaks during a freeze and occurs, that there may not be somebody there for a long period of time to turn it off. So oftentimes that coverage is limited on vacation rentals or second home, and it could be limited to 0, or we have seen it, you know, also policy limits. So all homeowners policies, they're not the same. They don't have the same thing. So sometimes when you're looking at price, you might want to think about what those coverages are, and that's a good question to ask. How am I covered in the case a freeze happens, or the line to my hot water heater that's in my attic breaks, and then because the consequence of that, even if it's just a washer on a downstairs bathroom,
if you're not there,
it's going to infiltrate your flooring, it's going to infiltrate the subfloor, the soffit underneath the house at minimum. The walls, and it's going to spread, and it's going to leak up into the insulation all around the home. So that's going to get expensive fast. So make sure of what you got, that you have adequate coverage for that.
I know down here when it happened, you know, neighbors were turning off water, and the water department for those was going around watching, and there were some houses that they just had to gut them. It was like a flood.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't come up, it came down, but when it came down, you know, before they got it shut off or they ran out, they turned the line off, it just flooded the whole house, and then it sets for a day or two and gets warm, and then you've got your mold and your other stuff happening.
Kind of
and so I know there were some homes down here that were completely gutted,
well,
you know, just for safety.
Again, moving, not just freeze, but in case a water line breaks. You know, when that happens and nobody's here for a period of time, it's the flooring. It is the subfloor that is soaking wet. All the insulation, and it gets to be very, very expensive. All coverage is important. The homeowners from the fire, from the wind, from flood, but that's something that is often overlooked in a homeowner's policy of how expensive it can be to get the remediation done, to get it all taken out. You may not be able to live there for a while. What are you going to do then? If it's your primary home, if it's your second, it's not, but you suffer some other things, your loss of rents, things of that nature. So it's super important to understand what you have. And by the way, we didn't talk about contents coverage in the event of that.
You still have that.
Yeah, you still have that. That could be water gets in the floor, comes up through the furniture, then all your contents have gotten waterlogged. So
I know we had a lake house growing up, and we just made it. And even the house before I was down here full time, you turn the water heater off, and you turn the water off at the main, and then you open the valve outside, and that way you didn't have to worry about it. But I remember one year someone didn't drain the commode, and it was an old house down here and didn't have insulation in it really, and the commode froze and cracked one year that it froze.
Well,
and
yeah.
So,
there was, before there were a lot of things. We've talked about how it was before, but you know, if there was, some of the houses were old. Ours was
old,
too.
yeah.
There was a lot of ventilation unintended in the houses. So back then, if something like that happened, you just open up the house and turn fans on and let it dry out. But nobody really turns the electricity off anymore, turns their breakers off, turns their water off. Maybe a few do, but generally not. And even then, you'd come back and turn the water on, and there's sags in the line, and all of a sudden it looks like little sprinklers everywhere when that happens. So.
Well, if people want you to look at their policy and see what kind of coverage they have and maybe explain to them what they have and what they could do to improve it in case something like that happens, how can they get hold of you?
Call us is the best way, 409-755-7600. We have we have a couple of people that know quite a bit about the beach, myself as well, hopefully, and or you can reach us at our website at priestinsuranceragency.com.
Great, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday for another show talking insurance here on the coastal area and any changes that have made and how you can improve yours. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless. Make sure you call priestinsuranceragency.com. God bless and bye-bye. Priest Insurance Agency has been located in the heart of Lumberton, Texas since 2001, providing a consultative approach and educating customers on how their insurance works for them throughout the coastal region of Texas. Priest Insurance specializes in the coastal region of Texas, covering home, auto, business, and recreational insurance. With ties to the coastal communities, Dan Priest has had the sand between his toes since 1972 with a home on Bolivar Peninsula in Galveston County. He survived a storm named Ike, but lost his home. With insurance coverage, his family was able to rebuild following the 2008 storm and continues to make memories beachfront. Priest Insurance specializes in the coastal communities, family dwellings, investment property, and business insurance. They've been there. Whether you're looking for or have a family retreat along the Texas coast, investment property, or a business, Priest Insurance would be honored to work with you and your family to make sure you're covered anytime trouble arises. For more information on Priest Insurance and their contact information, please visit their website at www.priestinsuranceenagency.com, or their office is open for phone calls with questions and consultation Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. by calling 409-755-7600. Priest Insurance Agency, working and educating customers, making sure they understand and have the coverage they deserve.